There is an element of trust, even if you are skeptical of every politician in the country like I am, and I know you are too. There's an element of trust that you have to extend to government officials because they simply have the power at that moment. Even though we have our role to play in our self-government, they are in that position of power. And you trust them not to wield that against you. You trust them not to lie to you. You trust them not to abuse their position to enrich themselves while letting the American people struggle. That's Hillary Clinton. That's why I wanted her in jail, not because I believe the Democrat philosophy of engaging in lawfare against your political opponent to, drown them in legal fees and punish them with the process and humiliate them with a mugshot and try to put them in prison so that you don't have to contend with their ideas. That's the Democrats' philosophy. But the Republicans have for so long let go of the reality, let the reality pass them by, when the reality is that the Democrats have actually committed crimes. Hillary Clinton, if President Trump arrested Hillary Clinton, it wouldn't be because he didn't like debating her on that debate stage. In fact, he seemed like he had a pretty good time. It's not because she's a Democrat. It's not because she tried to stand in his way. It's because she violated the law of our land. And that's what Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, well, we'll see about Hillary Clinton tomorrow, are doing again. MSNBC told you a congressional subpoena is not merely a polite invitation. It has teeth. It has the backing of the Department of Justice. This is Pam Bondi's big test. The Attorney General of the United States. Congress doesn't have the power to arrest. You and I don't have that power to charge Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton with a crime. But do you know who does? Attorney General Pam Bondi. She has the power to take a congressional contempt of Congress referral and turn that into an indictment. The question is, will Pam Bondi do that? President Trump, back in 2016, on that rally stage, you heard him yourself say the words criticizing the Department of Justice because they refused to indict Hillary Clinton. Well, now it's his Department of Justice. It's his nominee, his cabinet official, Attorney General Pam Bondi, who has the power to do this. Will she do it? I don't have confidence, a tremendous amount of confidence that she'll do it, based not on anything personal, but just based on her track record. She's been the Attorney General for almost a year now, and what has she done? She restored some normalcy, some sanity to the Department of Justice, returned the definition, reclaimed the definition of man and woman as it applies in federal law, and that's good. It's a little hard to give someone a pat on the back for doing something so elementary that you're simply acknowledging reality. But we haven't seen accountability. We haven't seen the pursuit of justice. We haven't seen John Brennan indicted. We haven't seen James Comey indicted in a legal manner, not botched up by Pam Bondi, whose appointment of the attorney who brought the charges against Comey was invalid and therefore invalidated the charges against him. An elementary mistake that you don't even have to be a lawyer to understand. We haven't seen any accountability for Fauci or for Hunter Biden or for the Biden administration's use of the auto pen. We haven't seen any accountability for the FBI agents that targeted journalists and Catholics and pro-lifers and parents who didn't want their children transed or taught that white children are racist and black children are oppressed. We've seen no justice for the Fedsurrection that was inflicted on people who dared to question the legitimacy of the 2020 presidential election. We've seen nothing from Pam Bondi except the Epstein binders. It's not just me who doesn't have a tremendous amount of faith in Pam Bondi. Apparently, President Trump doesn't have a tremendous amount of faith in her either. The Wall Street Journal came out with a piece yesterday afternoon titled, "Trump has complained about Pam Bondi repeatedly to aides." The subtitle reads, "The president has privately criticized his attorney general as weak and ineffective in recent weeks." Now, of course, you and I know the first thing that we do whenever we see a headline from the mainstream media is we behave with great skepticism towards it. Is this true, or is this another piece of propaganda from the mainstream media that hates you? Well, in this case, this is a very realistic portrayal It's very plausible. It's nothing that seems like a particular smoking gun or gotcha. It seems like a summary of what you and I have experienced throughout the year. Let's read it. The Wall Street Journal writes, President Trump has complained to aides repeatedly in recent weeks about Attorney General Pam Bondi, describing her as weak and an ineffective enforcer of his agenda. Administration officials and other people familiar with his complaints said. Well, is that true? To you and I, we can see with our own eyes that that is true. She has not been an effective enforcer of his agenda. The Wall Street Journal says the criticisms appear to be part of an intense campaign by Trump to pressure the Justice Department to more aggressively pursue his priorities, some of the officials said. Trump has previously criticized Bondi at times, but his vocal concerns about his attorney general have grown more frequent in recent months, officials said. This month, Trump has talked with allies about how he could appoint special counsels at the Justice Department because he is so frustrated with what he sees as the slow progress of its work, people familiar with the matter said. Chief among his grievances is what he sees as Bondi's failure to quickly and effectively prosecute the investigators who had pursued him for years, including former FBI Director James Comey and New York Democratic Attorney General Letitia James, the officials and others familiar with his complaints said. Both criminal cases were dismissed in November by a judge who said the Trump aide who secured the indictment had been improperly appointed to her post. Trump has wanted to see the cases continued quickly. A Justice Department investigation into another of Trump's antagonists, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, became public on Sunday night. Powell, whom Trump has publicly berated and pressured to lower interest rates, disclosed that the Justice Department was pursuing a criminal investigation over his testimony last summer about the central bank's building renovation project. The Wall Street Journal, of course, neglects to mention that the accusation is that Jerome Powell lied, which is against the law for a person in his position to do in a scenario such as that. The Wall Street Journal says Trump has complained frequently that Bondi's handling of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has created months of political and personal headaches for him. Officials familiar with the complaint said when White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles told Vanity Fair that Bondi, quote, whiffed on her handling of the files, Trump told staff that he agreed with Wiles, two officials said. He has also heard from conservative activists and influencers criticizing Bondi and has collected similar social media posts that he has asked other aides about, the officials said. And Trump has expressed frustration that the Justice Department hasn't done more to pursue those he claims helped steal the 2020 election, which the Wall Street Journal says he lost. Some of the people familiar with the complaints said. At times, Trump has complained to Bondi directly about his frustrations with the department, officials said. Bondi, the Wall Street Journal reports, has grown increasingly concerned in the past month about Trump's complaints. People in touch with her say a spokesman for Bondi said she has been focused on executing Trump's directive to make America safe again. In a statement to the Wall Street Journal on Friday afternoon, Trump said, Pam is doing an excellent job. She's been my friend for many years. Tremendous progress is being made against radical left lunatics who are good at only one thing, cheating in elections and the crimes they commit. All right. So how do we analyze this article? Is this true? Is President Trump finally growing tired of Attorney General Pam Bondi? Does he recognize that despite the fact that it is true, she has been loyal to Trump personally for many years, a quality that President Trump appreciates? He's stated, in fact, that it's one of the qualities he appreciates most, he treasures most highly. If you're loyal to him, he will be loyal to you. It is true that Pam Bondi has been loyal to President Trump for many years, and that makes the situation perhaps personally a little more awkward, a little more nuanced. But really, the decision that President Trump has to weigh before him is whether Pam Bondi is an effective attorney general, not whether she's a loyal friend. Has she been effective? Is she an asset to achieving the America First agenda that we, Trump's voters, share with him? Or has she become a liability to that agenda? Is she stymieing it? Is she neglecting to be effective in pursuing the mandate that we gave to the president when we cast our ballots for him? And I think the answer to that question has become increasingly obvious. Might have been obvious as recently as or as far back as last February during that infamous day at the White House where those of us gathered there were handed those infamous white Epstein binders. And in the weeks and months to follow, as Pam Bondi demonstrated that she does not tell the truth to the American people, it's become more obvious as the summer passed and the fall passed and the new year passed. And still, despite the fact that Tulsi Gabbard handed Attorney General Pam Bondi on a silver platter a case against John Brennan and the Obama cronies that fabricated the intelligence community assessment to claim that Russia helped President Trump defeat Hillary Clinton. It was fake. It was fake news. They used it just so that they could weaponize it against President Trump to lead to one of the impeachments in his first term in office. And what accountability have they faced? Even though Trump won a second term, a mandate from the American people, Trump's administration controls the Department of Justice. We should be seeing indictment after indictment after indictment. And yet, what have we seen? We've seen nothing. Now, you don't have to fire Pam Bondi in a blaze of shame. You don't have to destroy her dignity because she has been a loyal friend. You can promote her, demote her, like President Trump did so graciously with former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz when it became very clear that Mike Waltz does not share President Trump's foreign policy philosophy and would thus be essentially an infiltrator of the neoconservative brand in the Trump White House. And instead of being fired, he was promoted to a position at the United Nations. The same can be done for Pam Bondi. She can gracefully bow out if President Trump wants accountability, if he wants justice, if he wants this second chance at an indictment of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, who committed so many crimes against Trump and against us, the American people. There's still time. There's not a lot of time. 1 year has ticked off. We have but 3 to go. There's not a lot of opportunity, but there's enough opportunity to pursue justice if justice is what Trump wants. The question is whether Pam Bondi will do her job. On YouTube, Roger says, Bondi is Bill Barr in high heel. You said it, not me. Gordon says, why should they show up? Nothing's going to happen to them for not showing up. Nothing ever does happen to the major Democrat players. It's my belief that nothing will ever happen. And that, Gordon, is what you call a black pill take, which is extremely tantalizing and tempting to engage in. I largely agree with you, although I cannot help having the seed of optimism inside me to think that President Trump understands the reality in which we are living better now than he did even 10 years ago. And that he won't let this opportunity pass. He won't let his Department of Justice muff it up again and let Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton off the hook, despite the fact that they have been let off the hook their entire lives.